Hey, you're hanging out in the Link Up Lounge. I'm Tiffany Mason.
And I'm Donna Ruppel. Around here, we believe success isn't just about what you know, it's about who you link up with. This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Donna, it blows my mind that the two of us have over 30 years of combined networking experience.
I know. We've built businesses, expanded networks, and created unstoppable momentum, all through the power of strategic connections.
AKA networking. And now we're here to guide you to do the same, starting today.
So let's dive in, connect, and start making moves you didn't even know were possible. Ever heard the phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know? Well, it's both. And today we're breaking down why your network might just be your business's greatest asset.
And here in the lounge, Tiffany Mason with Virtual You, the boutique podcast management agency, and Donna Ruppel, your Nocatee real estate expert. And today we're talking about why networking matters. When we were thinking about the podcast and what we wanted to discuss, we knew this had to be the first episode.
Absolutely. Networking is so important for every single business out there. Networking is how you open the doors. So what better for a first episode, right, than why networking matters? And we kind of wanted to talk about that. So networking is all about creating relationships, right? And opportunities come from people and those relationships, not just posting on social media or scattering business cards when you go to an event. They come from building relationships with people. So I actually started networking when I was in direct sales way back, long time ago. And I was in this group. I met this woman. I was doing direct sales and she was doing actually another direct sales company. Fast forward 5 years, she contacted me when she moved to Jacksonville and asked me to list her home. And so even though I changed jobs, changed roles, changed businesses, that relationship that we built 5 years ago is why she reached out to me in my current profession. And that goes to show how much those relationships that you build in networking can help feed your business, no matter what you do, because you're building the relationship with the person. And that's what the power of networking can do.
Well, I also think in a day and age where social media can be shut down and that online presence network can be taken away from you in a heartbeat, when we have those connections with people, they're not going anywhere. We've made our lasting impression.
Right.
They've already decided that they know, like, and trust us, and they're ready to have conversations with us. And sometimes that ends up resulting in transactions with your business, what you are doing, what you've been promoting, and they have a good enough relationship with you that now they want to move forward with those services as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you think about it, when you're needing to get a service done or you want to go purchase something, what's the first thing you do? You ask your friends or your family member who they recommend or who they've used. So when you network, you're kind of cashing in on all of those people that you meet, their sphere of influence, and growing that know, like, and trust factor is super important for that.
We speak to know, like, and trust because that's who we do business with. And a lot of times when people are considering, they come to me being in podcast management, they say, well, what do you think about the podcast? Where's the return on investment? And everybody thinks they're going to start these podcasts and they're going to become millionaires. And that's not really what ends up happening. What ends up happening is it ends up driving foot traffic to their business. And so that's really the return on investment. And it's super tricky to track actually what the return on investment of the podcast is. But what it really is growing know, like, and trust. By the time that they reach out to you, they're ready to do business with you, and that just really speaks to the testament of we do business with people we know, like, and trust. And I know that there's someone in our networking group that we love to refer because she has a podcast. So we can say, hey, we're referring you to this awesome person. Check out her podcast. Get a feel for who she is, see if she's your flavor. And if she is, then, you are likely to do business with that person. So trust is so important and we can build that in so many different ways, but it's important that we really hone in on all three of those.
Yes, absolutely. I love when somebody has a podcast that shows and showcases who they are, what they know, what they do. It makes it so easy to refer people to them. I love that.
Yeah. And I think that was a driving force for us too with starting the podcast. We have a lot of experience in networking. We want to help other people with networking. And Donna and I actually have a networking organization called Bond and Beyond Network here in St. Johns County, Florida. And that's another driving force for us. We want people to know, like, okay, these ladies know how to network, and I do trust them to show me, to guide me in my efforts of networking. And so we thought that it would be a great idea to start the podcast too, for this same exact reasons. Just share what we know, and you guys get to know us. And maybe you live close and you say, you know what, I want to network with these ladies.
Absolutely. Your network really is your personal sales force. I mean, one good connection of that know, like, and trust relationship really kind of 10x's your reach, or 50 or 100. I mean, they say what the average person knows 150 people. So if you
Right.
think about it, you make one good know, like, and trust style connection with somebody, relationship, and now they are going to recommend you to their sphere of influence of 150 people. So your network is really just increasing your personal sales force. That really is the power of networking, which I really wholeheartedly believe in, obviously.
I love the other day I went to go invite some people to an event that we're putting on with Bond and Beyond. So I was going through my Facebook and I was inviting people to come to this event. And it was kind of fun for me to look through that list and go, I actually know who all these people are. I would beg to argue that maybe it's more than 150 people, because I think I have, like, I don't know, 800 people in there or something. And, when I was going through there, I thought, oh, yeah, jeepers. It was kind of fun actually to also reminisce about people that I knew from
Right?
other times of my other chapters of life, I suppose. But when okay, you say that it's like this sales force, right? And I'm getting ready to embark on a whole new thing. And I know two people that have actually been on my podcast, but I haven't talked to them in probably 2 years. But now I'm needing to know something that they are experts in. And it's an easy reach out to be like, hey, I know we haven't talked in a while, but could you give me advice on X, Y, or Z? So when you keep those relationships open, yes, it's opportunity to a sales force, but it's also opportunity to a knowledge base, where you have these people you can reach out to and ask for different skill sets and how do I do this? And when you keep those relationships up, they're happy to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think a lot of people think of networking as selling whatever they're trying to sell,
Hmm.
but a lot of what networking can be for you is collaborating with people in your own industry to grow and be exposed to new ideas and learn and all those things. So, collaborating within my own industry, I can learn so much. And so, that's part of networking as well.
Right, right. Well, you try to promote your business and you try to do it on your own and all these efforts, right? But that's just your little sphere. That's just the people you know. So we need to expand. So when we make these relationships and we meet with other people, now they're going to go talk to people, even if we don't ask them to. Sometimes they're just impressed, or sometimes they just, "Oh, I know a person that does that." They're happy to promote us or happy to refer us. I think that our networks help to keep us educated or inspired or accountable. Our group meets every week, and I love that. And that keeps us accountable. I love that we do an in person meeting once a month. And at that in person meeting is really a time for us to say, hey, could you give me feedback on this page of my website? Hey, can you give me feedback on this postcard that I want to send out to all my clients? It's really been a good sounding board for us. And that is also part of networking, where they can really understand your goals. They can really understand your vision and help you to accomplish that. Essentially, I mean, you could be saying, I'm going to build this, but I don't really know how to get this membership on. And somebody else knows somebody who is great on creating memberships online, right? And then they connect you, and then now you have a whole new source. You wouldn't have had that had you just tried to do it in your own effort. And sometimes you even get to borrow other people's belief in you. So I know that there was somebody very integral in believing in me before I believed in myself. And they were like, yeah, you got this. You got this. They kept cheering me on. And then finally, I was able to find that confidence in myself. And I think that that's what we do in Bond and Beyond often, is when someone thinks like, oh, I can't do this, or I'm not good at this, we're able to balance each other out and say, I believe in you. You got this. I can see
Yeah.
you've got the qualities or whatever, that kind of thing. So I think that's important.
Yeah. No, entrepreneur, right? You're wearing 79 hats, right? You are your business coach, your manager, your accountant, your marketer, all the things. And so, really having a network of people to be able to give you ideas and, like you said, inspire you and keep you accountable and help you with issues. I mean, there is nobody that I have ever met as an entrepreneur that is feeling 100% confident in all those roles. It's just not
right
there. So I do think that a networking group, depending on the structure of the group, of course, can really help you, round out all of those categories of your business and help you be the best you can be.
I think entrepreneurship can also be very lonely. And so it's nice to know, like, oh, you feel like you stink in a category too, or oh, you don't have it all figured out either. That is really
Exactly.
refreshing
Yes,
as an
exactly.
entrepreneur. Mhm.
Yes, just having that camaraderie and knowing that it's okay to not
Mhm.
know everything and be perfect in every category of your business, I think is huge. Yeah, it really
Right.
helps keep you motivated and going and knowing, like you said, knowing you can do this.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what a networking group can be for you. Absolutely.
Maybe even finding a mentor. Like they don't know that they're your mentor, but you're watching their steps. They're a year or two ahead of you, and you're able to go, okay, they didn't have it all together, but they moved forward and they did this step next. Okay, then they did this step next. So kind of nice in that respect as well.
So, when we're talking about networking generally, some people might think of a weekly networking group, but we're also talking about those one off events. So, there's masterminds or meetups or even business groups that you can jump in on one time, even, or maybe they meet once a month. But I'm thinking about the one off events, and those can be really impactful because not only are you meeting new people, but you're hearing new thoughts or you're learning something new.
Isn't it funny that sometimes we don't want to attend those events because we get nervous that we don't know the people there
Oh,
when
absolutely. Yeah.
really that's the ideal setting? Like that's where you should be going?
Right. But, it's funny because whenever we look to go to a one off event, don't we ask people within our own networking group, hey, is anybody else going? Because
Yes.
we want a friend to go with us. It's like we were in elementary school again. It's like I just want one friend to walk in the door with, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And I think
totally.
that's important. You can go with a friend, but you need to separate once you get there.
Yes, absolutely. Tiffany, you are such a good person to go to those events with because you do that. You separate and you leave me there and I have to make new friends. But yeah, I think that a lot of times there are people who are not super confident walking into that room, not knowing anybody. And that is difficult.
Mhm.
And I consider myself a pretty confident person, and I am still nervous about doing that for sure. So it's okay to be nervous. The reality is 99.9% of the people in that room are feeling the same way. And everybody is there to build their network, expand their network, meet new people, but they are all nervous about doing it. And so just keep that in mind. Like everybody's feeling that same way. So when you go in, people are always a little bit awkward, a little bit nervous, and trying to introduce themselves to people. And everybody's just literally feeling the same way. But those can really help you get exposed to maybe even another meetup or another mastermind or
Yes.
something else you hadn't even heard of. There's a whole world out there. And the more you step into it, the more you can learn, the more you can grow.
I never really thought of it before, but you saying how I'm a great person to go to those events with, that is the only setting that I'm okay being alone. So if I go to a restaurant and I show up, I'm the first one of the party there, oh my gosh, I just like seriously panic. Or if I go to the doctor's office and I'm there too early and I know I'm going to have to wait for 15 minutes, I just sit there and panic. But to walk into a room where I know the goal is to introduce myself to strangers, game on.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Yeah. Well, whenever there's an event, I always want to find somebody to go with.
Mhm.
And I know that when I go with Tiffany, it's like we walk in the door and then she's like, okay, bye. And she leaves me to go make new friends. Right. And that's exactly what it feels like. I'm here to make new friends. If you think of it like that, then you connect with some people you don't. But at the end of the day, some of the people I've connected with at those things are actually in my same industry. And then we have connected offline about some real estate focused event that's coming up or whatever. And so it's just really helping grow your business in so many different ways. So I think going into networking and thinking of it as growing your relationships and growing your relationships within your industry as well is going to help you instead of thinking of it as trying to sell yourself. Like you never want to come off salesy. And I think
Yeah.
that's why some people don't like networking, right?
Mm.
Because they think, ugh, that's so salesy and I don't want to be salesy. Okay. But that's because you're thinking of it like that, is what I would say. I would challenge you to
Right.
flip the script.
Well, I think too, you and I are so extroverted and we're like the more the merrier in our brains, right? And so I think for me, when I enter those scenarios, I'm always like, ooh, new friends. Like, who am I going to make
Right?
new friends with? And the other thing that I would encourage you to think about is all of our time is extremely valuable. So if you're going to take the time out of your day to go to this event, yes, I love my time with my Donna, but I know that I can call her anytime. We can go for drinks anytime. We can go grab a meal anytime. But this time I've set aside for networking. I'm promoting my business. I'm making connections. Who can I, maybe we can trade services, or who do I know that somebody else needs? You never know who you're going to bump into. And so it's very valuable to go there, but also remember why you're there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say that committing to networking on a regular basis is important because I feel
Mm-hmm.
that some people will go to one off events like once a quarter, maybe, and then come back and say networking doesn't work. Well, you haven't actually been consistent enough to build relationships, to grow that know, like, and trust, to be able to see the return on the networking time investment. And so I feel like, it's really good to commit to networking, if not a group that meets weekly, at least to think about a networking event repeatedly meeting the same people over and over so that you can grow that know, like, and trust. Because if you just go to one-off events all the time and you never repeat them, you're not really growing your know, like, and trust relationship with anybody.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, speaking of building the relationships, I'm going to take a little rabbit trail, but I'll bring it back. When we first moved here, it was awkward for all of us, and my kids and I is what I'm talking about. What were we going to do? And I was really missing my friend from the Chicago area and just longing to have that relationship again. And I was thinking, like, what am I longing so much about it? Right. And it was history. So I was thinking, like, you meet up with new people and there's not anything to be like, remember when? There's all these awkward conversations. But once you get past that, you get to this really sweet spot where, you're laughing about when your dog slobbered on their pant leg when they were dropping off brownies for the first time and you were so embarrassed, and now you guys can laugh about it. It's that kind of thing. And I see that when we live in a very transient area, so people are constantly in and out. It just seems like, nobody is from here, so nobody has, like, generations. I know that was a problem for me to make friends in a different area where just generations and generations lived there, and so they all had their friendship circles and they had all their business connections and they didn't really need any anymore. And so that is something that I would encourage you to think about as you try to grow these relationships. When you get to the networking, you go, ugh, it's these, superficial conversations. Get through those. And then you'll start to have, oh, it's so good to see you again. Oh, I see that you cut your hair. That's great. And then they go, oh, wow, this person really noticed. So it's those kind of things that grow the relationship. So yes, you have to do the small talk a little bit, but you do end up benefiting from investing that time. So, it ends up growing know, like, and trust
Absolutely.
with that network base.
Yeah. And, a lot of times people ask, how long would I expect to be in this networking group before I see my return on investment? And that's not an easy question to answer because it's really about, how are you investing yourself into this? Are you investing in growing a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're investing in growing a relationship, you're going to see that return on investment for your time and your money a lot quicker than if you are just simply showing up and handing out your business cards and being there, because
Mhm.
the return on investment from networking is going to come from those relationships that you're growing, just like a friendship, and the more you pour into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So, the other thing that networking does when you commit to doing it regularly is it's going to help build your brand equity. So, the more people see and hear from you in a consistent, authentic way, the more top of mind you become. The more they recognize your brand, the more they recognize your business. And then when they're out and about and you're not in front of their face, they're thinking about somebody says, "Oh, I'm thinking about selling my house." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, Donna, the Nocatee realtor," like that just comes to mind for them. And that is from being consistent and showing up in a consistent, authentic way regularly, not once a quarter, but like regularly.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of keeping top of mind, I remember when you became a realtor and the logo that you came up with had like a old school skull key, I think is what they used to call them, where it would fit in any of the locks of the vintage houses. Anyway, and I was at a vintage store and there were some of those keys. And the first thing I thought of was Donna Rappel with helping you find your dream home one key at a time. So when we are around people and we're saying our tagline often and we're seeing that logo often, we're reminded of those people in other times too. Even sometimes when I see that teal color, I'll think of your logo.
Oh,
So,
nice. Good. That's good.
yeah, yeah. We never know what people are thinking about our logo, how the impression that it's made, but they don't see that logo if they don't see you, if you haven't had a conversation with them. So I think it would be important for us to talk about maybe very directly what know, like, and trust is.
Yeah. I think understanding the know, like, and trust factor, what we mean by that is almost like the critical element of networking.
Hmm.
I'll kind of say a little bit about what I think it means, and then you can, talk about what it means to you. And somebody just recently said this to me, and I absolutely loved it. They called it the know, love, and trust factor. And I love that. Okay. So the know, like, and trust factor, or know, love, and trust factor, what it means is that people become to know you, right? Who you are, what you do, what your business is about. They like you, right? Because you've gotten to know them, you've built that relationship. They like you.
I think they also write like body language or how you laugh, or I mean, it's so stupid, but I did make a connection with somebody one time because they had a pink bow in their hair and I thought it looked inviting. And actually, at a networking event I was at recently, somebody came up to me and introduced themselves to me and said, "I have never done this before and I'm very nervous, but you looked nice. And so I feel like I want to try it out on you." And I was so honored, but she liked me enough to say, "Okay, I trust this person enough to be vulnerable and try out networking with this person," which I've never done before. So
Yeah.
I was really flattered, but it goes to show that it's important to have know, like, and trust.
Yeah. Yeah. So the third one being trust, and that one I think is really important in the back end. It's
Yeah.
you build trust. You build
Mhm.
trust over time by doing what you say you're going to do, by showing up when you say you're going to show up, by following through with trustworthiness and all the
I
things.
think being consistent.
Yeah, and I think that, sometimes we gloss by the trust part of the know, like, and trust, but when you're building these relationships and you're getting to know people and you're trying to be the fun version of you, right? So they like you, but also that they trust you, how you earn that trust is on the back end. You have to do what you say you're going to do. You have to be a woman of your word. You have to work your business in a trustworthy way. And so you can't just gloss over that part, because people will remember if their experience with you was not what they were hoping for. And that is going to be a real hit to growing that know, like, and trust. So think about that in all the interactions that you have as you grow and continue to network. You want to think about, how are you treating these people, and are you doing what you say? If you say you're going to meet them for coffee, if you say you're going to show up for a Zoom meeting or whatever, or you say you're going to do something, you really have to do it, because you are creating an impression.
Yeah.
It's just like when you were younger and you heard the first impression matters, and that's why you dressed up for interviews, right? It's the same thing. Impressions matter. And so you really need to be careful about showing up in a good, solid, positive, trustworthy way for your business when you go networking.
Well, I know if I ask somebody to put something on their calendar and they don't follow through the first time, and then I go, okay, that's fine. Life happens, or, maybe their kid is sick or something, whatever, life happens. Okay, fine. That's fine. And then I say it again, and then you don't do it again. Guess who I stop calling on?
Yeah.
I stop calling you to, hey, can you help me with this thing with this client? Oh, no. Oh, something come up. Okay. Now you're not reliable. Now I don't trust you.
Right.
And I kind of don't like you because you let me down.
Right.
So I still know you, but you have a different reputation. So in order to keep the reputation, you need to continue to earn their reputation.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I go back to in the beginning of networking, you're establishing who you want to be, what you want to be known for. And so you've really got to keep that in mind as you present yourself and as you get to know people. And then as you promise things, keep that in mind and grow that know, like, and trust factor. I think a lot of people don't enjoy networking because they think that they are an introvert, or they want to tell themselves they're an introvert and they don't like networking just because they're really actually nervous about meeting new people. But some people call themselves an introvert. They think networking is salesy, or slimy, or I don't like talking to new people. And so they tell themselves that. And some of that may be true. But at the end of the day, if, like you said, Tiffany, if you think about going to a networking event as an opportunity to meet new people and make new friends, you kind of take on a different mindset about it, because it's fun to make new friends, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. I mean, everybody likes having a friend, right? So,
Right.
If you think about going to a networking event as, I'm going to meet a new friend, and maybe if you're introverted, it's only one. For me, I'm like, ooh, how many friends can I meet? Right. But if you're an introvert, maybe it's only one. Right. And if you think of a networking event as salesy or slimy, it's probably because of the way you're thinking about what you're going to do there. You're thinking about getting a sale, or you're thinking about giving your business card to 5 people. I mean, I remember when
that is so funny that you're going in this direction, because I was just thinking in my head, we should talk about what's in it for them, right? Like that's what every human is thinking, what's in it for me. And so if you're going into the networking thinking what's in it for me, it probably does feel like a salesy, slimy thing to go do. But if you're thinking, I'm going to make friends and we're going to collaborate and we're going to come up with all these amazing ideas and our businesses are going to grow, then you're excited to walk in that room and have those conversations.
Exactly. Yes, because I remember early on in my direct sales experience, my mentor would tell me to go to this location and hand out 5 business cards to people. And it just made me feel so not authentic. I felt not good about anything I was doing. I felt like the only reason I was talking to somebody was to figure out how I could slip them a business card. And that never made me feel good. And ultimately, after a few attempts, I said, I'm not doing that anymore. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel authentic.
Yeah.
But to this day, I go to a networking event and I'm excited to meet new people and make new friends.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I sometimes don't even bring business cards. I mean, it's terrible, but it's like somebody will go, do you have a business card? And I'm like, oh my gosh, do I? Oh, thank God I do. Or nowadays we have, virtual ones on our phone too, which help you in those backup moments. But
yeah,
I mean, I probably just dated myself by saying that I had business cards anyway. So,
well, we do have many years of experience. And so
right?
We are elder than some of our listeners.
We have some business cards from the 1900s. Yes.
Don't worry, we do not have Rolodex.
Yeah, that's really dating ourselves. Yes. So, no, I think a lot about how you think of a networking activity or a networking event or a task is all about what your mindset is going in. Definitely make sure you have the right mindset. That makes a huge difference in your confidence. Okay, before we wrap up, we're kicking off something you'll hear at the end of every episode, our signature segment called Networking Mode On. This is where we leave you with one quick, actionable tip you can take into your very next networking opportunity, whether it's a coffee chat, a Zoom call, or a casual convo at the grocery store. It's all about helping you stay intentional, making stronger connections, and keep growing your network one smart move at a time. So let's flip that switch. It's time for networking mode on.
All right, here we go. Networking mode on. Your first tip, start by following this show. Seriously, following the Link Up Lounge is your first powerful link. It keeps you connected, plugged in, and ready to take action every week with fresh tips and strategies. Think of it like showing up consistently to your favorite networking event, except you can do it in your car. So just go ahead, hit that follow button, and we'll be right here ready to help you make your next connection count.
You've been hanging out in the Link Up Lounge, your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Now it's your turn. Go make a powerful link today.
Networking mode on.